Morning. I hope everybody is doing well. I keep trying to do these videos, and for some reason they keep turning out silent. I think maybe because it's connected to the Apple CarPlay, so I don't know why. I never had an issue with that before, but I don't know. We'll see. So I'm gonna try this one more time. Hopefully it should come out good. So I know you saw that post of the boat. I wanted to give you a little bit of a history as to how that came to be. I know there was another video on here of the older boat running, so how I ended up with this one and what happened with the other one and a little bit of the history. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but so a couple of years ago, I think maybe about 3 or so, I bought a 1997 Maxim. So that was an inboard outboard, right? What an inboard outboard is basically you have like a motor on the inside of your boat, and you have an outdrive, right? The part that steers the boat on the outside, right? Which has your propeller and you can basically turn, steer left and right. So I had bought that, and what you don't know, you don't know. So I'm passing the church here. Let me do my respects. So bought the boat, and the motor ran. All right, so some were things that I made mistakes on, I think. Boat motors are not like cars. They don't like to sit when you put fuel in them. So the boat, it was known the front end had to be worked on and probably some fiberglass. But when I got the boat, the trailer was already crap. So I guess it had been sitting there for a while. Guy tried to sell it, and he pretty much like fix and flip type dude. So he goes, and I think he had it for $2,500. So I offered him, I was like, yo, I'll give you $1,500 for it. I said, okay. The guy didn't even bat an eye, so I was like, okay, all right, cool. So the trailer was crap. That's number one. So I had to replace the trailer. Luckily, I was able to find one at a pretty decent price further south in Florida. So there's a roller trailer, galvanized, good shape, heavy, sturdy. Towed it from Miami to here, no problem. Good to go. Well, when you start working on a boat, right, you can have all these things fixed or these things okay and run. But as you start fixing things, that's when you notice other things that need attention. So change the oil, did this, change the oil, change the filter. Ended up meeting one of my neighbors, Navy guy too. He been around boats his whole life, so he knew how to work on them and all that kind of stuff. And I learned a bit. So when we went to the outdrive, right, which if you have like a outboard motor, that would be your lower unit, same thing. Not the same thing, but you know what I mean. When we undid the screw for the oil, it was looking really milky, so that was a problem. So all of that oil had to get changed out. So did that. I noticed couldn't raise and lower, couldn't trim the motor or the outdrive up and down. So replaced on the sides of the outdrive the trim sending units, right, on the port and starboard sides, left and right. Did that. Motor still ran rough, had a knock. It would start, but it wouldn't stay running. So we figured, well, carburetor. Well, when we look at the carburetor, the carb it was not a marine carburetor. It was like a regular carburetor that you would have in a Chevy 350 or something like that. So me, excuse me, I'm one of those people that I like whatever the part that it has, That's, like that's what it should be. I don't like no off-brand parts, or just get something that works. That's not my thing. Because if you're gonna do the darn thing, you might as well do it right the first time. So went, got the Marine carburetor, had starting issues, so ended up replacing the starter. Pretty much did a whole rewire. A lot of the wires were messed up. Did that. Put a USB with a pretty much a USB cigarette lighter type deal. And did a whole little upgrades. Even replaced the ignition switch, which is really easy. You just remove the old one where you put your key in to start the boat, and you just look to make sure. Again, good old YouTube helped me out on that. Go to see where the wires were on the other one and just repeat the process. So did that and a whole bunch of other things. Well, got to the point that quite a bit was done to it, actually. Quite a bit. So on the front end, I actually ended up getting PVC board and replacing all the, not the upholstery, but like the decking on the front end. So it looks like a lot of that wood had gotten waterlogged and stuff like that. And it just needed replacement. Started pretty much rotting out, basically. So went to try to sell that, and after everything was running well, and when we launched the boat, we launched it, turned on fine, trimmed the motor down, trimmed it up, so all of that, had it running the driveway on the hose, ran perfectly on the driveway on the hose. But running on the hose and putting it under load in the water and getting it underway are two different things. So when we took it out and launched it, when we tried to put it in forward gear, it would not move. Every time you put it in forward gear, the motor would shut down. Did that several times. So I looked, did a whole bunch of research and everything, and there was several things. So they said, well, it's probably like the ignition, not the ignition, like the ignition safety switch, or something along the lines. It was something electrical, but minor. Well, I got tired of it. Plus, some other things. So I said, all right. Went, sold it, got rid of it. Then I ended up getting, because at the time I had already, after all of that, in between all of that, I said, oh, let me get this Bayliner trophy. So, guy had it for about 8. I think about 8 or so. And I was able to, he had it for 8 or 9 or so. And I was able to get it for 7. So it's a 2003 Bayliner Trophy Pro. 21 feet, 7 inches, or 21 and a half feet. Basically 22 feet if you put the motor, little swim platform on the back and everything. It had the 125 horsepower Mercury 2-stroke on it. So this thing looks like it was on a slip. So he basically had a temporary trailer. The guy was like honest about everything. So he said, listen, this thing was on a slip. It looks like something happened with the guy not paying for it or something like that, or some type of fraud. I don't know exactly what happened. So the guy lost the boat. So this guy goes and purchases it to make pretty much make a quick flip of something he didn't have to do too much to. Right? Boat did not need any repairs. So, okay. So I go and I look this thing over. The floors were solid. The motor was solid. Pulled off the cowling, which is the top on the outboard motor, and looked at all of the components of the motor, right? And I was really impressed for a saltwater two-stroke that was actually in good shape like that. So it looks like it was really well cared for. And what gave me even more confidence as I looked around on the boat, right, was looking at all the cushions were still in plastic. So I was like, wow. Now, you've seen a little video of the boat. I looked at that, I was like, wow, okay. Now, the boat, when you put it in the NADA guides, or like how much it's going to be worth, like the Kelley Blue Book, for that year and everything, it is looking like it was somewhere around 15 to 20, roughly around there. Well, since then, I have done, I'm doing a couple of things with it. So, pretty much changing out all the switches with newer ones, and getting the stuff worked on, but so that way you're not going overboard, right? So the motor that was on it, I completely foobarred. I don't know how I did that, but while I was connecting, I had gotten new batteries because the other ones, pretty much, they were getting to the point where they were wore out and they definitely needed newer batteries. They were to the point that they wouldn't even hold the charge anymore. So I got 2 Optimum Blue Top batteries. Well, when I put them in there, I looked to see how they were connected before, and I did just that. But it looks like I maybe crossed wires and did something wrong, because when I went to try to start the motor, yeah, I fried some stuff. Mistakes happen. I definitely should have known better, coming from an electronics background and dealing with electrical stuff. But it was super hot out there, and that heat exhaustion is the thing. You can make stupid mistakes that you normally wouldn't do. So I went out there, and I said, well, now I got to get this motor repaired. Well, that was awesome. But when I went and tried to started looking at it, I said, you know what? It makes more sense to just repower. So, of course, I was going to do this on a budget and not go crazy overboard. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go and repower. Ended up finding a 2011 Suzuki. Guy had it for sale. Charter captain. Went and paid like $2,500 for a 4-stroke. And went and looked at that motor, and that motor was like really, really, really clean. Guy was upfront about everything. Now, the motor had like 2,900 hours or something like that on it. But it really, really, really showed that it was taken care of. He just wanted to upgrade to a newer motor, not knowing when this one would give out or whatever. So he said, hey, it could last a year, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? I said, perfect. That's something for me that right now is perfect. So I saw it running on a stand. Connected it to at the computer, and it definitely had not been run on full throttle a lot. The guy used it on a lake, mostly in freshwater. So I pretty much went, looked at everything, and made sure that definitely that this was going to be worth it, right? Got it installed. Don't know what normal install rates goes for, but was able to get it installed for about for about like $1,000 or something like that. So $2,500 motor, $1,000 installment is like $3,500. If you get a new one, new Suzuki, you're looking at like, depending on what it is you're looking for, anywhere from 12 to 20 something thousand maybe. So I said, all right. Trailer, ended up getting another one. That was one of the things that we were able to negotiate, because the trailer definitely was going to need some love. But since it had torsion axles, I was like, you know what, let me just get another one. I was able to find another one for about $1,000. Guy just didn't really need it. It was at a storage unit. He sold it for like $1,000. So if you see the other video, you see the other trailer, and those things are not cheap. I tried to price out new ones. Those things are super expensive. I was like, nope, good to go. So I went from there. And once everything is done with the switches, I'll show you guys and give props to the person, to the guy doing that work. See you later. See you in the next one. Take care. God bless.